Is it true that the four fundamental forces each govern entirely separate aspects of the universe? As textbooks suggest, gravity controls the fall of an apple. Electromagnetism governs how light bulbs shine. The strong force dictates the atomic nuclei, and the weak force governs particle decay. At first glance, it seems as though the universe operates with four completely different rulebooks, each with its own set of symbols and language, disconnected from one another. However, in the energy filament theory, this apparent separation is merely a consequence of how humans have historically written their scientific texts. The underlying reality is much simpler. The universe starts with a single energy sea, one that can stretch, twist, and fold. The four forces are simply the different natural responses of this sea to various situations, representing four habitual actions it performs. Imagine the energy sea as an elastic fabric that can be compressed to different degrees or have textures woven across its surface. Gravity, in this analogy, represents the large-scale tension slope of the fabric. It's like a heavy stone pressing down on a sheet, creating a deep depression. Anything that is no longer supported will naturally slide down the slope because this is the most energy-efficient way for the fabric to reorganize. In essence, gravity is not a mysterious force that pulls objects down, but rather the fabric itself adjusting its shape, bending at a large scale, to find the most comfortable position. When objects move toward the center of a gravitational field, they are simply following the natural energy gradients created by the bending of the fabric. Electromagnetic force, on the other hand, operates on the fabric's texture. Imagine charged particles as tiny embroidery heads embedded within the fabric. The surrounding fibers are forced to align into concentric directional patterns. The straighter and more aligned these patterns are, the more the fabric will tend to transfer tension along that path. Like charges will repel one another, while opposite charges will align and pull toward each other. Essentially, it's the direction and slope of these textures that dictate how energy flows and which paths are the easiest to follow. The strong force works on an even smaller scale, within atomic nuclei. When you attempt to pull apart a tightly bound group of threads embedded deep within the fabric, you are essentially trying to tear open a gap in the energy sea. The energy sea will not allow any bare holes to exist in its fabric, so it immediately starts rolling out new threads to fill in the gaps. This ensures that the tension remains balanced. As you pull harder, the fabric resists, and eventually, instead of the threads breaking apart, a new bundle of independent threads is formed. This process of gap filling is what we see as the strong force in action, holding atomic nuclei together. The weak force, meanwhile, governs the process of reorganization in unstable structures. Some particles in the fabric are like awkward creases, temporarily holding together. However, left to their own devices, the internal tension of these particles gradually leads them towards instability. Eventually, they found the most energy-efficient path, redistributing their energy into several more stable configurations. What we observe in particle physics, such as particle lifetimes, decays, and flavor changes, it is the weak force facilitating the reorganization of these unstable particles into more stable forms. In this view, the four fundamental forces are not four separate, disconnected rulebooks but rather four natural states of the energy sea at different scales, textures, and degrees of instability. Gravity represents the large-scale tension slope of the fabric. Electromagnetism governs the texture patterns that guide energy flow. The strong force ensures that gaps are filled and the fabric remains intact, and the weak force facilitates the restructuring of unstable particles into more stable forms. The complex equations that appear in textbooks are simply the precise accounting of these four actions, each in different levels of detail. What this theory proposes is that the four forces are not isolated from each other, but are manifestations of the same fundamental reality. When we look at any of these forces, be it gravity, electromagnetism, the strong force, or the weak force, we are essentially observing the energy sea responding to various conditions and constraints. The forces that we once viewed as separate are, in fact, different aspects of a unified whole. They all work together to create the dynamics of the universe. each force playing its part depending on the scale and the conditions in which it operates. Next episode preview: the strong force. Why can't nuclei be pulled apart or pushed apart? Tap follow, share it on New Physics, Clear Universe.